Hey guys, it's me, back with another 10-word review video. I spent a good majority of my summer watching every single Pokemon movie that was currently available. 1,983 minutes spent watching 20 movies, and that's what I'll be reviewing today. Every single Pokemon movie reviewed in 10 words or less. By now you should be familiar with the 10 words format. A review just under 10 words, a rating out of 10, and then a top and bottom 3. As always, be sure to check out Jelloapocalyse, as he was the one who originated this format. So without further delay, let's jump into this. So this is where Shadow got his backstory from. Disturb not the mascots of Pokemon Go. Oh boosh, the unknown can't do jack in game. So Oak never brought up the celery thing to Ash? Whoa, a Pokemon movie with consequences? Very few wishes granted for being called the Wishmaker. Oh no guys, we're being attacked by bad CG. So Mew just actively steals from this castle? A May movie. Neat. Alice. You know, we don't need a talking Pokemon every movie. Strange that the god of this world almost died. It's Voice of the Forest with the 5th gen teaser. This marks the 4th movie death of Ash. And this marks the 5th. Pony enlists help from 10-year-old to unfreeze family. Mewtwo has a new form! Let's never talk about it. And this time Pikachu dies. This movie's terrible. Were you surprised? Big Brute with a heart of gold cliche. Different timeline, but he'll probably still lose the league. Genesect in The Legend Awakened is about a group of Genesect trying to reclaim their home after being asleep for a few hundred years. Mewtwo catches wind of their plan and must fight to stop them. I'll be honest, I didn't go into this movie with high hopes. The Black and White series was kind of my drop-off point in terms of the anime, and this movie did not help. It's boring. Barely anything happens until the last act, and even when something does happen, it's completely underwhelming. On top of that, Ash and Co. barely affect the plot. Ash isn't the one who stops Genesect, that was Mewtwo. Only thing Ash really does is sympathize with one of the Genesect. Also, the movie doesn't bother to explain certain plot points. It glosses over the fact that this isn't the Mewtwo from the first movie, and doesn't even acknowledge its inexplicable ability to Mega Evolve, despite it being one of the selling points for the movie. Kyurem vs. the Swords of Justice is about Keldeo, a Sword of Justice in training, prematurely challenging Kyurem to a fight to earn his place among the other swords. Things go south pretty quickly, and Keldeo flees, leaving the other swords frozen and Kyurem chasing after him. With help from Ash and Co., Keldeo must stand up to Kyurem to save his friends. Keldeo is a pretty unlikable character. In fact, all the Swords of Justice are. Verzian, Terrakion, and Cobalion have no personality other than their one character trait, and Keldeo is just annoying. The plot felt dragged out, especially during the end. Keldeo probably could have transformed a lot sooner and saved everyone a lot of time. And once again, Ash barely affects the plot. He's only there to provide moral support to Keldeo. You could probably take him out of the movie and it'd barely change. Poopa in the Class of Ages is about Ash and Hoopa trying to stall for half an hour against Hoopa's evil shadow. They do this by summoning legendary Pokemon to fight on their behalf. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is trying to make a bottle to seal Hoopa's shadow away. This movie is terrible, and basically equivalates to an hour-long commercial. The second half of this movie is literally them just showcasing all the legendaries available in the latest game. It even has some of them Primal and Mega Evolve, and no one even questions this. Hoopa is a horrible character. It acts like a spoiled child the majority of the movie, and it even talks like one too. Its catchphrase, "Were you surprised?" is anything but endearing. Whether it's the plot or the characters, this movie is a mess. I probably wouldn't hate it as much if they didn't false advertise the movie. The trailer advertises it as a battle between legendaries, the likes of which would get Arceus involved, but the final product was anything but. The trailer even had footage and lines that weren't even in the movie. The trailer put emphasis on Arceus even though he receives less than a minute of screen time. I remember being so excited for this movie, only to be disappointed when I actually saw it. So was I surprised? Yes, and that is a bad thing. Mewtwo Strikes Back is the first official Pokemon movie, And what a way to start. The movie is about Mewtwo, the self-proclaimed world's strongest Pokemon's attempt to conquer the world and replace the Pokemon with superior clones. Mewtwo is such an intriguing character and was a good choice for the first movie's antagonist. Mewtwo was first revealed in the anime as a mysterious creature under the control of Team Rocket. It was later revealed to have escaped Team Rocket's control, and this leads into the movie. This movie was our first real look at Mewtwo, and we learn a fair bit about it from this movie. The movie conveys a sense of mystery and allure. Mewtwo feels like a really imposing force, and I was always wondering what would happen next. One gripe I do have with the movie is that if you watch the extended prologue like I did, it does really slow down the movie, and I see why they initially cut it. Also, Mew is barely involved and just kinda shows up at the end. But other than that, this movie is great, and it earns my number 3 spot. Pokemon Heroes is about 2 Team Rocket grunts trying to take the Soul Dew from a Latias and Latios who have befriended Ash to control the city's defense mechanism. I absolutely love the atmosphere of this movie. There's not a whole lot of action until the final act, and that's okay. The moments between Ash, Latias, Latios, and Bianca are just great. I really get to know these characters through stuff like this, and it makes me care more about them. Additionally, this movie has actual stakes. Once Annie and Oakley have control of the defense mechanism, the city is at their mercy. And once the Soul Dew is destroyed, a tsunami threatens to wipe out the city. And one thing I have to commend this movie for is the death of a character. Latios sacrifices itself to create a new Soul Dew, and in doing this, it leaves Latias behind. This movie had consequences. This movie is just a delight, and I had so much fun with it, and it earns my number 2 spot. My all-time favorite Pokemon movie is The Power of One. Before I watched all the movies, Spell of the Unknown would have taken this spot. And it is a really good movie in of itself, coming before Mewtwo Strikes Back on my list. But Power of One I enjoyed even more. The movie is about Ash being chosen to participate in an island ceremony to collect the elemental orbs. And when the legendary birds go on a rampage, it is up to him to restore harmony to the world. Ash is heavily involved in the plot, as he must collect the orbs to summon Lugia and restore peace. For most movies, Ash is just there because he has to be, but here he is a vital part of the story. Not only Ash, but other characters get involved in small ways. Even Team Rocket contributes. The movie had me excited all the way through, waiting to see what would happen next. I was thoroughly invested. It felt like there were really stakes. If Ash didn't do what he had to do, the world would be doomed. My only complaint is that the movie's villain, Lawrence III, is kind of irrelevant. They don't really explain why he wanted the birds other than for his collection, and after the birds escape, he's just forgotten. But this movie is so exciting, and I love the atmosphere it gives off. And this is why Pokemon The Power of One is my favorite Pokemon movie. I can only hope that The Power of Us lives up to expectations. A Max movie? Ugh. How is there a second Mewtwo? How do you have less Pokemon?